All right, Libra, this was something. So, never jam today, and I haven't gotten a chance to see this one yet. It says promises that never come to be, empty words, and not living in the now. And then you have observer. So, never jam is talking about people who are able to talk a really good game, but they never really follow through on what they are promising. It talks about manipulation and withholding. But it also says don't buy what they're selling. And then you have observer. And this is telling you that you need to take distance from a situation in order to gain perspective and understanding to why somebody is not willing to follow through on their actions. It's interesting here, but there's something more that you need to see or more that you need to understand. So it may not be a bad thing. It may just be that you're either dealing with a person or a situation here that they can't fulfill on what they're promising you. But it may not be what you actually think, which is why Observer is saying you need to take distance from this so that you can gain perspective and understand why this is happening. It's interesting. But then on top of that, you have Masquerade from the Dark Mirror. And what's interesting about this one is it talks about the fleeting, things fleeting. So the moon phase here is the waning gibbous and the stage is bargain. It says, what I can't have forever, I will have for a minute. What I can't have for a minute, I will hold for 1 second. Now, this could be about you doing this. Constantly doing the dance and the masquerade in order to have fleeting moments, but then never having anything long term. But it makes me wonder if the reason why this is showing up is because of what we're looking at with the other oracle cards, because somebody can't fulfill on a promise, but you though are compromising yourself. So the bargain stage is after anger has been exhausted. So now it's like, okay, well then that's fine. If I can't have it forever, then I'll sacrifice a part of myself and only keep it for a minute or whatever. But that's not fair to you. You know, but if you're constantly moving from situation to situation, then yeah, you're going to have to take a look at, you know, the mask that you're wearing, so to speak, in order to have, you know, a temporary situation in your life or a temporary experience. The sentence says, under the guise of Cupid, I will come to you. Under the guise of a thief, I will fly away. So it's all about the fleeting moments, things that are not, you know, long-term at all. All right, Libra, here's your overall. The world, nice, nice. Now, normally when I see the world as the overall, the first thing that I think is needing to take the steps to get closure or to get to that successful completion. But everything happening around you right now is hopefully going to lead you to closure of a situation or having that successful completion. But the world is good. In the past, the high priestess, so here's where, you know, the observer comes in, right? Now, with the high priestess, we could be talking about things that you've been keeping to yourself or even bottling up for that matter, but not willing to act because you don't have the answers, that or you've gained some information that you were not aware of, or you're keeping information, you know, but we'll see. Okay. So in the present moment, the Six of Wands, perfect, right? Victory, recognition where it's due, being recognized for doing the right thing. So maybe some of you are showing other people that you've done the right thing by keeping something to yourself or keeping a secret. I don't know. I still question that. But the Six of Wands looks good. Oh, wow. Okay. So in future conditions, the Hierophant, goddamn, man. All right, Libra. Okay. So here's what I'm getting from this. The Hierophant. When you look at the Hierophant, you're talking about spiritual understanding. It is about bringing spirituality down to earth in a way that we can understand it and use it in a practical way in our lives after having been through a lot of difficult changes, because he rules the fives. Now, the other part of this, though, is about commitments and traditional values. And I have to wonder if you're not keeping some things to yourself right now in, you're wanting to do what's right. But I think that for a lot of you, this personal victory is going to come when there is closure on something that you have been conforming to or sticking to. But the thing is, this is still a good thing, though. It's still a really good thing. Now, it could be that you finally learn about something here that you intuitively knew. But I look at the Six of Wands following that and think, okay, now, I have a personal victory in my life because I was right. I was right about it. But it leads to, a stronger spiritual understanding and commitment here. And we get to an end of a situation in a really good way. That may be, easier for you to make a major commitment in your life. That, or you weren't aware of the fact that somebody was seeing you and recognizing you. Right? And then there's this big commitment and success. Okay, your best path to follow is the Six of Swords, so needing to move on from conflict. And with the World being there, you get a nice completion, nice closure on that. So, again, it makes me wonder if it doesn't have to do with information that you knew, but I think comes out in a way where you're like, I knew it, right? And that's your personal victory. But still, where you come out is really good. But the Six of Swords is saying that something needs to be moved on from. And I think about the Five of Swords coming before that, which can be the case for some of you. Coming out of like difficult arguments or dealing with somebody who's been extremely difficult or acted like an asshole. But there's still something that you're needing to move on from, though. Otherwise, that wouldn't be your advice. Okay. In your environment, the Five of Cups. So even though you may have been right, it's still not a happy situation. And then I wonder if some of you feel like you're not getting the attention that you deserve because clearly there's some kind of conflict that you're still needing to move on from, but it's still hurting you. Because the Five of Cups is emotional pain, being focused on what's been lost. But that's because of things that are being kept with that High Priestess. And I think that it's things that have been kept from you more so than you keeping things to yourself. Wow, this is interesting, Libra. Oh my goodness. But it's almost like saying that you may have been right, but it's not a good thing. And then I wonder if, if you were right about a person and something that was going on that doesn't exactly make you happy, if they're not seeing or giving the attention that needs to be given to you based on, you feeling like shit over what happened. Wow, man. Oh boy, Libra. You and Aquarius, the Nine of Swords is hopes and fears. Things are still really going good for you, though, in future conditions. And it may be that you break a commitment here, but it ends in a successful way for you, right? Which is possible here. But there are still some things that you're going to have to let go of and move on from and stop focusing on. But your fear is showing constantly replaying shit out in your mind. Now, this may be on whether or not you actually want to take the steps necessary to get closure on this. You may have gotten answers, but it may not be a situation that, is ending in a way that is better for you, but it's still the overall, and that's the thing for me. But it's up to whether or not you can move on from what has been conflicting, what has been painful for you. But the Nine of Swords being your hopes and fears, that's you just torturing yourself, playing the worst of an event over and over in your mind, thinking about, worst case scenario. It's like going back and remembering all the horrible crap and the horrible changes that you've been through and not, giving it a rest, So it's like it doesn't even put your mind at ease if this is about something that's coming out. I mean, it's like you hope that it will, but the fact that that's there, that's not a victory, Wow, Libra. Okay, and then coming out the Nine of Cups. Okay. I'm telling you, with the sun and the high priestess, this is, you're being shown something. But with the devil immediately after that, it's the light being shined on the devil. The negative things that have been directly affecting you, but the things that you've also been chaining yourself to that you know are not healthy. But it's like, okay, I finally, have vindication here, or you may feel like that in the present moment, but it's not a happy thing. It's still a very negative thing that is hurting you emotionally. And your mind is not being put at ease. So it makes me wonder here if when it comes to what you want or having, emotional fulfillment again means breaking a commitment or not sticking to tradition anymore and doing what's necessary to get closure in your life so that you can have freedom and independence, because this is about being happy on your own and breaking those chains. But yeah, something is definitely being shown to you. And you already knew it though. And that's the thing, you already knew. But it doesn't bring you any consolation at all. And it may be that you literally need to move or reevaluate your own personal commitments here. But like I said, these two coming out on this I think is good. Especially considering that we're looking at the devil in the middle, and it explains a lot in terms of the Six of Wands and the Five of Cups. Goddamn, Libra. Okay, this is something that I've been talking about a lot lately. There are times where we need to accept our responsibility in what we create in our life, okay? And it's not that we intentionally go out there and try to create bullshit. But if we don't make the conscious effort to make the choice to change our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, then we can't get all upset and put blame somewhere else when bad shit happens. You have to take at least some responsibility for that. But the way to create better things is by honoring yourself and fucking treating yourself better. And taking responsibility for what you create. Because like I always say, if you can create fucking bullshit in your life, you can create something better. But it is your responsibility to create your life. And if you're not happy with what you're creating and you want to have your wishes fulfilled and you want emotional satisfaction to return to you, then you need to treat yourself better and honor yourself. And slow down. Have patience. Love is patient and kind always. And then slow down. When you are excited, you get ahead of yourself. Take some time to allow things to unfold. Have patience with yourself and take a minute. I almost look at slow down as, you need to just give yourself some time, before you go jumping into something new. And I think that the Nine of Pentacles here may be a good thing, where you may be on your own for a little bit, but you're okay though. And that's the thing with the Nine of Pentacles, you're going to be fine. You're creating security and stability for yourself. I mean, nobody ever truly wants to be alone, but I think that that's what you need to do right now, is just give yourself a little bit of time here before you get caught up in something new. So I almost look at these two as like advice and a warning, because again, we don't want fleeting bullshit. You don't want to be doing things that are only going to last for a few minutes and then that's it. But goddamn, Libra, and like I always say, their general messages, it's not going to be for everybody, and certainly don't make it fit to your situation if it's not. But if this is your situation, by all means, please let me know. But I'm telling you, the sun is showing you what you already knew with that High Priestess. And it's something that's not good. And you may have a personal victory in being able to say, I knew I was right, but that doesn't mean that it was a good thing. But I am very hopeful about the way that you come out on this, but it is up to you. It is up to you to create something better, but that's only if you are willing to move away from what has been painful for you.